Okay, so now, as you can imagine, we've positioned our phone to capture whatever hardware or controllers we might need to capture. Be interesting to see if you could use this just as a second video source inside your Max patch as well for other applications. But anyway, I'm just going to show you now how to open up your Ableton set and your Max patches and display them as well. So let's start by opening Live. And that's going to launch. Here we go. And in here, let's open up the example Max for Live device I was working on last week. I believe one of them was an audio effect. Let's see how good my naming is. Yeah, let's go with the audio routing ambisonic hack from last week. So that's going to launch that. We've got a couple of things here we can look at too, which is interesting. Good. So the camera is still working with the head tracker, even though I'm also using it for OBS. That's nice. That's good to know. Cool. And then here we have, we can open our Waves plugin, and that's still working as well. It's good to know that all these things work with multiple source, like multiple applications viewing the source. Cool. Again, this is just a reminder of what we were doing last week with this patch. So whatever audio we send in here, we'll get back to that in a second actually. But anyway, now we just wanted to be able to make sure we can see everything we might want to see. So you might have an Ableton session open, and you might have Max open as well, whether that's just editing your Max for Live patch. Usually we don't run it whilst we're editing it, but so I'll just make a new Max patch here just as an example. Alrighty. So now with all of our applications open in OBS, we're going to continue to add things to this scene here. We've got our Droid cam and our laptop cam. Let's add something else. Now, for both of these, for Max and for Ableton, it makes sense, I think, to use a window capture. So let's click window capture. The first one here I'm going to call Ableton. Press OK, and then select a window for that. So these are all the different windows apparently that are available for me to look at. I just look for Live. I should have named it Live. Then press OK. So I might rename that one. Rename, right click, rename, Live. Cool, and here it is. And then I can just resize it. And you could imagine that I could crop that as well the same way. So you can right click, transform. I could flip it vertically if I wanted to, flip it back, etc. Or crop it in the same way I did the other things. So there's my live session. So depending on how much you're doing in your live session you want to demonstrate, that would kind of like, you can arrange this however you want. And also we've got a Max for Live thing here, or a Max patcher open. So I'm going to add another window capture. I'm going to call this Max. And again, this is kind of what you're doing when you're setting up, getting ready for your presentation next week. This will all be, you'll be pre-preparing this before we go onto the Zoom call. You'll be getting all this ready. Here it is. And I could resize this. And just before I continue, OBS does have the facility to create multiple scenes and switch between them rather seamlessly. So, but at the moment, I'm just looking at doing this as simply as possible, creating one scene. Perhaps maybe later on we might talk about multiple scenes. Now you can notice there's a little bit of jumping here and there, but usually that kind of smooths out once everything's kind of set up. So now I can see my Max patch. Maybe I want to make this a little bit bigger. Again, it depends on what you're trying to demonstrate as well. Might put this up here, make it a tad smaller. And then, where did my other video go? There it is. Again, it's totally up to you. Great. Okay, that's adding those two things in. I think that'll do for this video. I'll see you in the next one.